I reckon, like, of the games that have come out so far this year, like, that could be Game of the Year material, I reckon Portal 2 is definitely up there.
Oh, more than likely, yeah.
Yeah, more than likely. I mean, because its gameplay's amazing, story's good, characters are, really
well developed.
Really well developed. God damn it.
It definitely needs to have the very best blending of all of those
to be able to become
together.
I think
just because it is amazing in one respect isn't line for a Game of the Year status.
I think Portal 2 does blend all of those aspects.
It does so really well.
Another game that I think is possible is Rockstar, not like the Rockstar game again. LA Noire. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
That's also come out this year, obviously.
Its lack of a PC release was obviously disappointing for some, but of course, following other Rockstar games, it will be releasing on PC within the next, most likely, year. I'd say.
I think it's coming out later this year. I think.
Yeah.
Actually, although I don't think Red Dead.
Although Red Dead Redemption hasn't, which was strange.
I'm not actually sure why.
Could be dependent on sales or something along those lines.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
I'm actually not sure. But yeah, I think.
Yikes.
I remember before Duke Nukem Forever came out, I was already saying that I remember saying to you that no matter how good it is, it'll never
live up to hype. A game with that much hype can.
And unfortunately, it wasn't even that amazing. I'm sorry, but it wasn't that good anyway. But I just, even before it came out, I just thought no matter how good it was, it's never going to be Game of the Year because it's so anticipated. But that's games that have come out. Games that haven't come out yet, I think. Do you reckon Deus Ex is a possibility?
From what I've seen so far, that game is looking brilliant. It has, I think, options within a level are very highly focused on. It'll give you a lot of ways to complete it. It'll have like there's at least a few ways that you can progress stealthily or aggressively, or so simply by using
very sort of choice.
Yeah, it's very choice conscious. It'll always keep that in mind. Like you could break through a wall, or you could get a key card to get into the room, or you could find an air vent or something along those lines. It keeps options open, and it never focuses on one way, which is good. Choice is a very good thing for games. That is, if it has choice, that it is usually a very great idea, and is generally favoured.
That is true, yeah. What else? I mean, coming out this year, I think another big title I think in September is Gears of War 3, which to me, although I am hyped for Gears of War 3 and I am sort of and I am looking forward to it. To me, Gears of War just has never really felt like Game of the Year material. I mean, it's fun, but it's not, in my opinion. Its plot's interesting, but it's not amazing, and for that reason, I don't think it'll.
I think that'll be the same case with Resistance. In most respects, the plot was quite good for the first two. It was generally fun to play, and it looked quite good, but it didn't really feel like it would ever step up to Game of the Year. It was definitely worth playing, but it would more than likely not be able to reach Game of the Year.
Fair enough. Another game in September is Dead Island. What do you reckon?
I think a lot of people will be disappointed by the graphics because they'll be expecting what they saw in the trailer.
In the trailer, that's true,
yeah. A lot of people have, like especially company, they've been saying about how, of course, it's not really meant to be a representation of the game, like the gameplay. It's more relating to
what it is. Which is
a
sad
bit of
and depressing.
it relates to the I couldn't exactly say the maison scene for that, could I?
But
it would be like
I know it's sort of it's supposed to sort of set set the scene for what the game is.
Yeah, the theme. Yeah, it presents the theme, what the game will generally look like, how it will act, like the way that most of it will be handled. It doesn't really present much in the way of gameplay, but it provided that later on, afterwards, in its own way, with obviously gameplay trailers and other trailers that had focus on gameplay.
I think I agree with you. I think that people may not may sort of be disappointed. It might not be what they're expecting from the trailer. But I think it will be good. But again, I don't think it'll quite be Game of the Year edition. Material.
Status,
yeah. Personally, yeah. Another game is shit. Yeah, you gonna say that?
I think as far as plot goes, there hasn't really been. Obviously, I think for most zombie games, plot is usually left behind, and gameplay is more of the focus. I've seen that for a lot of games. You'll have a zombie game with a rather basic or lacking plot, but then you don't really have to worry about that. It's more concerning that for the developers that the gameplay is much more accessible for a wider audience. So you have a very big group of people that are able to play, rather than just others who want to jump in and focus on a plot. Most people who play that are just into the whole mass slaughter sort of thing. And that's probably what it'll draw a bit of focus on.
That's September. I think October, I reckon, for me, although it hasn't been announced yet, I have a feeling that October is going to be Dota 2 Day. And of every game that's coming out this year, I'm most hyped for Dota 2.
Have you taken into account Valve time?
That is true, but do you think about they're having the tournament at Gamescom? So I think it's likely that
they'll most likely be compiling a gameplay trailer afterwards. I would think. It seems reasonable.
And I think because if they're having a tournament, obviously most of the engine is obviously built. It has to be. Really, the gameplay has to be absolutely, completely similar to what it is. Because if it isn't, then
how would it work?
Well, you can't have a tournament.
I guess.
Yeah. So I think it's coming out, but although it's one of the, to me, it's the game I'm most excited about this year. I just really doubt that it will become Game of the Year. Partly because it's a sequel to a mod, and I think that's rarely,
That's rarely a, good place to...
Well, it something like that will rarely get Game of the Year, yeah. And, it's a, yeah, I mean, I'm hyped for it, but I just don't think Game of the Year is
possible.
It just doesn't feel like something that would get Game of the Year to me. But also October is Arkham City.
Arkham City, yes, that. So far, I think graphics and story were very highly focused on, and I think actually, yeah, gameplay as well. It really did keep all three points very well considered when making the game. The gameplay with the way that combat worked, it was revolutionary. It worked brilliantly, and it was almost flawless. It had the occasional camera glitches and whatnot, but the way that the character could easily combat a huge crowd of enemies was very well done. And on top of that, the graphics were very well done. It had its own very lightly comic style in the way that the characters' faces were made, but it worked in a really good way, and the plot was also quite well done as well. From the way that it'll link into the next game will be really good. The way that each Arkham Asylum to Arkham City will be quite good to see. And then also in October there's Rage.
Ah, true.
Which,
Which I personally don't know much about.
I'm hoping it'll be what I was thinking of Borderlands to be. Personally, I thought Borderlands was a bit under what I was expecting. It was okay, but I didn't favor the new style that they went with, and
the comic book style.
yeah, it was sort of comic book style, like the way that everything was rendered. It looked kind of odd, but it wasn't bad. It was just I didn't favor it, and the way the combat worked as well. After dying and then just about most of the enemies respawning. But I hope that Rage will, from gameplay and whatnot, I've seen that it seems to take a new account. It blends some aspects of Fallout and Borderlands and presents it in a really unique way. You know, an asteroid hitting Earth and people evacuating into pods underground.
To me, it almost sounds a little bit like Fallout 3. I remember when I was looking at it, I sort of thought, this seems similar to Fallout 3.
I think the way combat works is closer to Borderlands, but I think overall it'll probably draw from Fallout. Also, driving is very similar to Borderlands. It's
you can't
it's
drive.
first-person shooting and then third-person driving.
Okay.
Like a lot of shooters happen to do that now. They'll take the camera out behind the car, just for simplicity.
I mean, just going back to September, I actually forgot this. Space Marine, Warhammer Space Marine. Which is something that I really like the sound of. Just because I'm a Dawn of War fan. I personally don't really follow the Warhammer universe, but
yeah.
Except for what I've sort of seen in Dawn of War, but from what I've played, I am a fan of the universe, and it's something that I'm looking forward to. I quite like the idea of blending shooting and melee. I think apparently it's something which I think will be interesting because most games, melee and shooting is quite separate, and the melee is generally sort of the last resort, sort of side. Basically the final sort of sidearm in a lot of games, and I'm just sort of interested to see what it's like. I'm not really sure if it will, how good it will be, but I think it'll be an interesting game. I think it'll be interesting to see how well that turns out, in my opinion.